But for me, I've had a bit of a roller coaster ride in hospitality, starting from washing dishes in a place in Brisbane, being paid illegally and shouted at, to quitting hospitality at 15, to vowing to never come back, to then, falling in love with hospitality. But I guess if we keep the story short in terms of, my rise from washing dishes to picking up plates and glasses to running bars and being a manager and moving to the other side of the world, to work in London and Edinburgh. I guess the story that leads me to do what I do now, to, help businesses improve their people and their culture, it begins in 2018. I was working in what I thought at the time was my dream job, and it hits a climax towards the end of 2018 and start of 2019, which on the second day of 2019, I had planned to take my life. I was sat on the edge of my bed and tied up one of my shoes, and that was my plan for that day. Now, for some, it sounds a bit strange to hear this, but at the time, there wasn't a huge amount, wrong in my life. The things that people commonly think of when they when they think about someone in that space, in that sort of mindset. I hadn't had any big traumatic event, or death in the family or relationship breakdown. I was doing okay outside of that. At that point in time, it was, burnout and the work environment that was, suffocating. This place that I was spending 6 to 10 to 12 to 14 hours a day, it was absolutely, sucking the life outside of me. It was tough, and, it wasn't an instant decision to end up at that place on the edge of my bed on the second. It was a gradual decline of, about 6 months. Which I didn't even notice I was in this space until, I found myself there that morning.